4. Coming up on 30 seconds until airtime. Mark, 30 seconds until airtime. Once again, stations, if you encounter technical issues during the broadcast, please call the Oregon Studio Hotline at 336-831-0864. Stations, your final time cue will be with 15 seconds until airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
The following is a presentation of Learfield. Welcome to Duck Insider.
Our whole athletic department, there's a level of expectations of success.
Throw, catch, touchdown, Oregon.
He can run and slam.
This is back out for a 3. Left wing is good.
In the air to center, back at the wall. It's out of here.
Really excited that we get to rep our Ducks and hopefully come back to Eugene with some championships.
Indoor track and field national champion.
Oregon repeats as the Pac-12 champion.
And for the 4th time in the last 6 years, the Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
We have so many teams that are excelling right now, and it's really fun to be a part of.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Better banking, local solutions. Live from the Country Financial Studio, here's Joey Mack.
We are back from the bye week. I hope that everybody enjoyed watching some college football, some NFL, some MLB playoffs this weekend, whatever else. Maybe watch NBA preseason, NHL preseason. I watched some motocross this weekend. That's actually a true statement. I love watching motocross. I love it. Welcome back, everybody. It is a shortened week for the Ducks. In fact, if you're going by the game week calendar, today is Tuesday. That means that yesterday was Monday, according to the football team's schedule for the week. And that means that yesterday Mario Crisotbal met with the media for about 15, 20 minutes or so. And Tim DeRuyter, the Duck defensive coordinator, also met with the media. Before we hear from Coach Cristobal, we do have some newsworthy announcements for you to kick off the show today. And then we will dive in also to a conversation with Oregon soccer head coach Graeme Abel, because his squad went 2-0 over the weekend. That's right. Oregon soccer 2-0 over the weekend. Oregon volleyball 2-0 over the weekend. It's a 4-0 record for volleyball and soccer combined. The Ducks for volleyball are sitting in first place right now. We're going to talk with Matt Ulmer on the show tomorrow. And we've got a kickoff time for Oregon football at UCLA. Pac-12 office announced Monday morning that the football team's road game at UCLA on Saturday, October 23rd, will be a 12:30 kickoff. And hey, as somebody who is on the team plane and really loves a earlier kickoff, because that means that we get home a little earlier. Thanks, Pac-12 and ESPN. That's 2 12:30 road games for the Ducks. This one's either going to be on ABC or ESPN. Final TV selections will be made following the conclusion of this weekend's games, but it's on the, as we say, the ESPN family of networks, whatever's owned by Disney. It's going to be on one of those channels, either ABC or ESPN. Now, of course, Oregon with a Friday night kickoff against the Golden Bears of California on Friday. 7:30 under the lights. We will have a light show at Autzen Stadium for you. The Coming Home and Shout light show. It's really important. Download that Go Ducks mobile app. Click on the menu in the top left corner. Click on Duck Lights. Go through, enable a couple things. The most important thing is to enable your microphone, because the way that this works is you're all going to be sitting there with your phones. Your microphone is going to be listening to what's playing over the PA at Autzen, and that's going to sync up your phone screen to make the light show all in sync with the song. I'm really looking forward to seeing it. It's going to lead to some, I think, great images of Autzen Stadium. We've done it before with like the camera on your phone and like a slip of film that made a different color. We've also done it with different wristbands, but this is now just going to work through your Go Ducks mobile app. You don't have to bring anything else, worry about anything else. Going to be with your Go Ducks mobile app. Sync it up with Duck Lights from the menu in the app, and it's going to be a lot of fun. Friday Night Lights, quite literally, at Autzen Stadium against Cal. It's on ESPN. This is a big matchup for the Ducks, not just because it's a Pac-12 game, but I think Oregon, coming off the bye week, the Ducks need a little bit of a rebound. And you know what? So does Cal. Both of these teams, I think, are searching for a rebound a little bit, and that was something that Mario Cristobal discussed in his weekly press conference. Let's hear from him as the Duck head coach met with the media yesterday with Oregon practicing in the Mashofsky Center today. We've got some other interviews from after practice coming up as well. Mario Cristobal this weekend previewing the matchup on Friday night against Cal.
Mario, kind of two-parter here, but how much does the offense change, if at all, without CJ? Given you guys were going to be looking for a little bit more vertical passing in the first place, but without him, how does that impact some things? And why are you guys confident that and I'm not criticizing Travis, but you haven't had to ask him to be a 20-touch or 20-carry-a-game player before. And if he does that for you the next 8 weeks, it would shatter what he's done from production. Why are you confident he'll be able to do that for you the next 2 months?
The offense doesn't change. We'll play the backs. They'll handle the reps that they can handle. We've got good running backs. With the absence of CJ, the load will have to be picked up by another couple of guys. We typically play 2 heavy, and then a third back gets a couple of reps. It'll be somewhere divvied up between 3 guys. The actual percentage of carries will be determined by how each particular back can handle it, starting with Travis, which he's handled it really well. He's bigger, he's stronger, and he's done a great job for us. So we expect him to play excellent football.
Yeah, Mario, there's a report that Joe Moorhead could be back this week. Is that accurate?
Well, he's trying to. I know he's healing up. He's certainly the first and foremost, we want to get healthy and to be well. And he's progressing. He's certainly involved with what we have planned, just like last week. If the game plan doesn't change, I mean, we have an offense. We're not going to scrap in the middle of the year. So, but he is healing up, day by day, and we'll see where we are midweek. But he's certainly involved in the game planning part of it, and we'll see where we are later in the week.
Coach, from your view, what are you seeing in Cal this year, and are you surprised they haven't been more successful given all the people they had coming back?
Well, they're a good football team with a lot of good players, and certainly they had success against us last year. So, we're focused on them and the fact that they do have a lot of really good players. We feel like they're really physical and disciplined. They play really, really hard. They're really good tacklers in space. They don't allow much stuff to get behind them. They've got explosive players on offense, defense, and special teams. So tremendous amount of respect for them, their program, their coaching staff.
Can you talk about how Tim DeRuyter has done for you guys?
He's done a good job, done a solid job for us. We're improving in some areas and got to improve in some others. So, happy that he's with us, and we're continuing to progress and hoping to have an even better week this week.
Hey, Mario, I'm wondering with Bennett going down, obviously a tough break for a guy who's having a really, really good year. What does that star position start to look like behind Jamal?
Well, the addition, or I would say the return of a guy like Damon David helps out. Jamal, who is now seems to be in football shape and more along the lines of what he was, a year ago, now that he's gotten more reps. The thing is, Bennett was playing at a really high level. I believe he was the National Player of the Week when he did get injured. So that was a tough one because, between him, Steve Stevens, he's playing good football as well. Verona obviously played really good ball. We had some plans to get all those guys on the field at the same time. So that plan has to be scrapped, while at the same time, other guys getting work at those positions. Jeffrey Bossa has been very unselfish in helping us by playing linebacker. He's a big guy, so he could handle it. So that's why the return of Damon David is so important. He provides depth and a guy that we feel very confident that could go in there and play.
Is the plan for Bossa to stick at weak side linebacker then?
Well, just for the season. He's an excellent nickel. He's an excellent safety. And the guy really, really smart, learns football well, adjusts well. He's physical. So he was, it's just, again, a very unselfish move. We're glad that we have him with us because he's doing a great job. Every week he just gets better and better with the reps that he gets. But that is a move for the year.
Kind of follows nicely with that, Mario. Just going back a bit, the 2-minute defense in the last game and just the thought process of sticking that Tim didn't go with dime as much, but how much did you mentioned kind of a lack of availability there? Did personnel availability in the secondary play into that? And just the general thought process of either going with dime in that situation or not, and how that might change going forward in those sort of situations.
Well, nickel and dime calls are real similar, and the cover techniques that are used are almost identical. The body types that were in there, they're all of equal ability. I don't see a nickel and dime being a difference. Not having Triquez in there, he was ejected for what they said was a targeting call, which, again, whatever there. But the fact that technically being, you got to play leverages the right way. And we got beat on a lot of in cuts on that last drive. And we certainly, there were a lot of penalties on that last drive, some that we can avoid and some that, whatever. So we got to certainly do a much better job, because 19 plays previous to that drive, 5 straight kit, we had held them to about 11, 12 yards of total offense. And that's the way we're supposed to be playing. And on the last drive, we didn't. So we got to hold ourselves accountable as coaches, teach it better, call it better, adjust from a leverage standpoint, whatever way we have to prevent that result.
I know you said the staff went out recruiting, but how did the team use this bye week? Sometimes teams prepare for the next opponent 2 weeks out. How did you guys use your time?
It was really well. We made a decision that the whole thing was going to be focused on improvement, and in a couple different ways. One of them being from a health standpoint. We have to get some guys back, so we had to be smart. Typically, bye weeks for us, it's rock 'em, sock 'em now. We're in full pads every single day. We didn't have enough bodies to go full pads every day, but we went enough where we got the right kind of work in. Guys that needed some, I would say, work, but not in full pads, still got the right type of work, whether it be conditioning, technical, fundamental. We worked on all our schemes. And of course, during the bye weeks where you always want to create your wrinkles, your evolvement of your systems, as we like to call it, as well as tighten up the things that you need to be better at. A lot of not only young guys, but guys that have been, in line and waiting their turn, get multiple reps. And the reps, they really added up. You saw some improvement. A lot of guys that we're counting on to step up that have played some or that have played very little, if at all, but got multiple reps, thinking that those guys are either going to get more reps or going to get their first action in the coming weeks with our situation, and really everybody's situation around the country, right? You're going to see a lot of players play in the second half of the season that probably didn't play in the first half of the season around the country due to the use of the red shirt rule, due to injuries, roster adjustments, betterment, player development. So all those things I think, play a role in who gets to get significant snaps as the season rolls on.
Yeah, there's been some injuries that the Ducks have had to deal with. We've talked about it, the linebacker position. That's why Jeffrey Bossa moving into that weak side linebacker role. And then you think about, too, at the edge position, Kayvon Thibodeau is going to be out for the first half of this Cal game. Remember, with him out, getting a guy like Braden Swinson back can really help, as player availability continues to maybe be the biggest question that Coach Cristobal is getting asked about every week. That's because guys have gone down, the targetings. I mean, the depth of this Oregon football team has been tested. You hope that there's going to be no more injuries, because that's certainly been maybe the biggest uphill portion of the Duck battle this season, right, has been the injuries and the player availability. We've got more from Coach Cristobal coming up. Going to hear his press conference, the conclusion, when we come back on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
After 2 years of construction, my wife and I finally moved into our dream home. So when a bathtub fixture broke, causing major water damage, I was glad we had the home insurance protection we needed. How do you know your home is protected? Talk to a Country Financial rep like me, Nick Simon. We can help you understand your options and select coverages to meet your needs. Then if something happens to your home, you won't have any surprises. Need the right coverage for your home but not sure where to start? Visit TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics, because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Hey, son. How are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it. Navigating without a compass, eyes waiting, started to wonder. Metamorphosis, the loss of who you thought you was.
When your kid can't find the language, help them find the lyrics. Listen to the Sound It Out album and get tips and tools to start a conversation at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? how are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
Back on Nugget Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Country Financial Studio. Today's show is brought to you by our friends at Hoodoo Ski Area. The preseason pass sale going on now. Family destination since 1938. Dig into deep savings. Get your season pass now. Hoodoo.com. We're coming up on that season, aren't we? It's going to start snowing over in Central Oregon here pretty soon if it hasn't already. You know, Jerry Allen said that we're going to have to go and do a show from Hoodoo. If we could put all of the studio in the back of a truck, you know, like TV style, I'm there. I'm in. Apparently, and I don't know if maybe Scott was here for that show, but apparently they did a broadcast once where Jerry was like sledding down a hill. Maybe they like recorded footage of this and then played it on Duck Insider back then. I don't know. Might have been recorded. But I mean, I feel like we're onto something there. So I think moving the set would be quite a chore. Yeah, this would be. I don't think that the desk is going to move easily. No. Did we bolt this to the floor? I don't remember, Scott. I don't remember.
I think it's just really heavy.
Yeah. Well, I know it's really heavy. Anyway, Mario Crisotbal, part 2 of his Sunday press conference. Let's hear from the head coach. Look, the Ducks have been dealing with injuries. We know that. And I think that one of the things you'll hear from his press conference, one of the themes is that it is next Duck up, though. Like, they're not going to sit there and make excuses. Guys got to step in and make something happen, and especially now with guys like Bennett Williams out, C.J. Verdell out. Alex Forsythe was banged up last week, just to name a few. Where do the Ducks go from here? Well, I think Coach Cristobal would tell you, I don't really care. Next Duck up, go win a game.
The 2 targeting calls last game, Mario, but there's obviously this discussion going on in the background about evaluating targeting, evaluating how it's administered, whether there's going to be a targeting 1, targeting 2, and putting intent into the rule, and no one knows how that'll be legislated necessarily. Not just in light of the last game, but in general. All right, with these conversations going on, how would you like to see targeting adjusted going forward when this is very much a hot topic in the sport at the moment?
Sure. I think anything should be officiated with consistency, that being number 1. Let me go back. That should be number 2. Number 1 should be player safety. So that always needs to be number 1. Number 2, consistency, right? And then really, I mean, there has to be a form of discretion because you're impacting games. You're really interjecting someone's discretion into the outcomes of a lot of games and affecting the next game in certain cases, you know, without the opportunity to appeal, right? I think it's really easy for someone to make judgments when they're able to super slow-mo things on a monitor as opposed to bodies changing positions and guys not being able to avoid certain contact and in fractions of seconds at full speed. So I think there has to be a reevaluation of the system while always keeping player safety first.
When you guys were evaluating Anthony through 5 games, I know you said last week that you believe he's going to continue to improve, but what are some of those areas that you think he still needs to improve in and is going to improve?
The same stuff we've talked about. There's certain things he needs to improve upon and certain things that he's done really well, and we've got to get better. It's the exact same thing.
For this game specifically, Mario, Cameron Good is obviously don't need to remind you guys what kind of impact he can make. How do you go about trying to minimize the impact that probably their most disruptive playmaker on defense can have on a game?
I think he's as good of a edge player and disruptive force as you'll find in the country. I say that without any reservation or hesitation. Just watching him on film, just different. His ability to, change direction, beat tackles and tight ends underneath with power, set edges, win the one-on-one, split double teams, redirect, play the dive, play the quarterback, hunt down and chase down wide zone from the backside. This guy, he impacts the game in every way imaginable. This guy's really an elite player, and you've got to be aware of where he is, all the time. That being said, they've got other really good players as well. They do a great job up front. They're very well coached, very disciplined, and they've done a really good job, handling the run.
Your offensive line has helped this run game be really good, one of the best in the conference. Your scoring offense is best in the conference. Just your thoughts on their development, from week 1 to now going into your 6th game of the year.
Yeah, honestly, man, we just got to keep getting better. I don't think anyone on our team is looking for praise, and not saying that we, don't deserve credit for, improvement and everything else. I just think we're at the point where every ounce of focus is just on, hey man, let's go get better. We did that during the bye week. We feel like our focus is strong, and it has to be that, you learn lessons along the way, especially when you sit back and you watch college football yesterday. You realize how difficult it is to win football games, and how you're never out of it, right? You're never out of it one way or the other. And I say all this just to kind of go back to the question and realize that the focus has to be on what you're doing right now to improve, so that you have more success on a play-by-play basis. Stack those plays. Now you stack your quarters and you end up having good ball games. But that's been the focus. I'm glad that we're having more success up front. I'm sure Coach Mario, the last thing he wants is any kind of, praise for those guys. He just wants them in that mindset where, we got a long ways to go. We are improving, but miles to go, miles and miles to go.
Hey, Coach, hope you're doing well. A little follow-up on this. Do you think it's more likely that we start seeing 2 lost teams in the playoffs nowadays?
I couldn't tell you. Our focus has everything to do with the right now. I know there's a lot of scenarios out there, and obviously that's a huge part of the season in college football as the season progresses. But as of right now, really, I really have no idea how that would play out.
The other policy matter that's come up, Mario, that basically passed is the expansion to the signing class this year up to 32 if you have the departures. I have no idea how that may or may not impact you. You've always talked about trying to sign the max and see where things go. Your initial thoughts of how that might or might not impact you, as you were just out recruiting this past week during the bye week, expanding the class potentially. I mean, it does require guys leaving to do that, but how that might impact you guys and your plans for this year's signing class.
Again, it all depends if you're allowed to sign, if it's a retroactive type of, criteria to be able to do it, or if you can just project and then figure it out later. I don't know. I think it's smart to be able to provide some relief, because teams have found themselves in a real pinch, and not only because of transfers, but sometimes, maybe they should expand it and also look at post-spring. God forbid there's some injuries in some critical areas. Example, if this was spring ball right now and we had the injuries we had at linebacker, we'd be seeking to sign 3 or 4 guys at that position. So there's some things to be taken into account, because again, there's a way for, spots to be vacated, but there's not a way for spots to be replenished or roster to be replenished. And I think it's smart that we're investing and looking at some ideas. I'd like to see how the whole thing lays out, really, James, before being able to comment on it further.
Always a bunch of different things going through a head coach's mind, huh? Not just preparing for a game, but some of the things that could change moving forward with different rules and proposals that are out there. We'll see how that develops. So that's Mario Crisotbal with his weekly press conference, always brought to you by our friends at the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Fight like a duck with cancer care you can count on. When we come back, Tim DeRuyter, Oregon defensive coordinator. We're going to hear from him next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear Exit Strategy, no matter which Toyota you choose, there's an exit from the ordinary to match. See you soon, Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer or Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places.
What's with Mountain Dew? Mountain Dew is like a zip line of incredible flavor directly into your brain. Mountain Dew is like getting punched in the mouth with pure neon refreshment that creates a neural explosion, sending flavor shards of electric brain pulses into your very core of being. Okay, maybe that's a little over the top, but you get the idea. The fact is, the mind-bending challenge of describing the taste of Mountain Dew is way harder than just experiencing it. That, of course, is easy. Just grab an ice cold Dew, crack it open, and toss them back. Mountain Dew. Do the Dew.
Dear Exit Strategy, no matter which Toyota you choose, there's an exit from the ordinary to match. See you soon, Toyota. Visit your local Toyota dealer or Toyota.com today. Toyota, let's go places.
You're listening to Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
Jelly. Jelly adjective. Jelly is a shorter, better way to say jealous. As in, Chloe, I am like so jelly of your unicorn phone case.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt US Kids, and the Ad Council.
What is dedication?
My daughter started making necklaces. She makes what we call affirmation fashion. I tell her every day that your black is beautiful. And if there's anything better than being beautiful, it's being smart. And if there's anything better than being smart, it's being kind. And reaffirming that every day is our method of making sure her chin never drops.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Welcome back inside the Country Financial Studio. It is Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. This week, the Oregon Football Coaches Show coming up on Wednesday, 7 o'clock. GoDucks.com/OSN for more info. We got Ken Wilson. That's a guy who has seen his group get hit by injuries, and just one of those groups on defense, I think, has led to the Ducks being a little bit limited. That's something that Tim DeRuyter is going to talk about in just a second. Before we get to that, though, and Graeme Abel, Oregon soccer head coach, is going to join us in just a bit. It's time for your Cafe Yumm 2-minute drill. Well, the women's basketball schedule is officially out. It begins against St. Martin's on October 28th in an exhibition. And now we've got a number of different games to announce for you because the conference season is officially out. You can go to GoDucks.com, click on that women's basketball schedule page. Of course, Terry Johns will have the call for all of the regular season games. I'm already excited for it. I am already excited for it. Moving forward, the Ducks with this women's basketball team, they're really good. A full schedule on GoDucks.com, and man, I just can't wait for the 31st. I just keep looking at the schedule, and I was thinking about it as we're showing the graphic for those of you watching the full schedule, and I was looking, I'm going, God, that's a fun matchup. That's a fun matchup. That's a fun matchup. There's going to be a lot of them, and particularly that January 17th game against UConn. Whoo, how about that? The full women's basketball schedule is out. Men's tennis, the team doubles for the Ducks were finalists for the ITA All-America Doubles Consolation Bracket after winning 4 matches throughout the tournament. Congratulations to the Ducks on that front. And Oregon's double team of Charleston and Vanacastile were semifinalists in the main draw after wins over the likes of Arizona and Stanford. Women's tennis also wrapped up its opening weekend of the fall with 6 singles victories over DePaul on the final day of the Husky Invitational. Good luck to Nils Schielander and Courtney Nagel's squads all season long. Volleyball swept Cal on Friday. It was not close. And then in a 5-set thriller, the Ducks beat Stanford for the first time in a long time. We're going to talk with Matt Ulmer about that on the show, but it was Ducks got down 2-1, came back and won in 5 sets. I thought the block got really, really strong in the 4th and 5th sets. The Ducks were impressive to take down Stanford, and you know what that means? Oregon is sitting in first place in the Pac-12 standings right now, so good for the Ducks. And women's soccer, after beating Arizona 1-0 on Thursday, they beat Arizona State in full time, 1-0 off a Kess Elmore 34th minute goal. 8 saves from Leah Freeman, and the goal stood up. 1-0 victory against Arizona State. First time Arizona State's been shut out all year. And the Ducks have now shut out 6 of their last 7 opponents for Oregon women's soccer. And that's the best 13-game record since the 1981 squad was 11-0-2 through 13 games. Graeme Abel, Oregon soccer head coach, he's going to join us on the show coming up. That's your Cafe Yumm 2-minute drill. Cafe Yumm restaurants throughout Oregon and Washington serving Northwest-inspired catering and takeout for your next gathering or meeting. Venues, cafeyum.com. Defensive coordinator Tim DeRuyter, he met with the media yesterday. Usually we'd be telling you about an offensive coordinator press conference as well, but Joe Moorhead's still trying to work his way back to join this football team. So for now, just talking defense with the DC, Tim DeRuyter.
Tim, just going back to the Stanford game for a minute, give the thought process on 2-minute and the personnel you went with there, not going with dime and going with just the thought process of why you stuck with 2 interior D linemen and 2 inside backers, and if you could do it again, would you stick with that, and just the thought process of whether or not to go to dime in that situation?
Well, in that situation, you want to go with your best guys. And, we feel pretty good about that Panther personnel package, whether we're getting rush, whether we have guys in coverage. Losing Bennett on Friday, hurt our dime. And so really, essentially, it was the same thing. You just have to make a decision on, what do you want to have in that situation package wise. And we were affecting the quarterback with some of our pressure in the second half in some of our looks. And, unfortunately, we didn't play tight enough coverage in that last drive.
Yeah, Tim, just your thoughts on replacing Bennett now with that injury, and just kind of, he was having a pretty special year, and I guess Jamal's replacement there.
Yeah, no, I mean, Jamal's obviously played a lot of football. I thought we were in a really good situation from a depth standpoint, having both those guys, because I think they're both really good players. And Bennett was playing at the point where we were looking at more opportunities for Jamal to play more safety. With that injury, we're likely to put Jamal back to the star position and have Happel back him up there. And Hap's a guy that's played some ball, and he's been safety. So one of his best attributes is that he understands and can play multiple positions. And so he'll have to do that as well.
Through 5 games, I realized, because so many different guys went down at different points, how you feel you've been able to employ situational personnel, whether it's heavy on the D-line or dime, or I don't know if you use rabbits or cheetahs or whatever, but the designated pass rush situation, how much you've been able to employ what you've looked to. Have you shown all there is, or is there a lot more that we just haven't seen? Because then it does go down, and you only have Hap, and you didn't have Damon, and obviously Swinson and Ajax have been out and other things. So just have we seen all that there is from a situational standpoint?
No, clearly not. We've been a little bit limited, primarily due to injuries, and so you have to go with the guys that are available. And when you're playing younger guys, you're not as apt to put a lot of stuff in. You want them playing hard and fast, and playing effectively. And you put too much on their plate, they're going to slow down. So they're getting better rapidly. We feel that this last week was really good for us to have our guys understand football more and be able to get some guys back from injury. So hopefully we'll be able to have some more package stuff ready to go.
Mario was on a couple minutes ago, and he was talking about his impressions of Cameron Good, and obviously you know him real well. What have you seen from Cam this year, and then more generally, what have you seen from Cal's defense, which hasn't maybe been as good as it's been in recent years?
Well, I don't really study Cal's defense. We haven't had them a whole lot in our crossover, so I don't have a extensive look at them. Peeked a little last week just to see what they were doing, and Cam is no surprise. He's I think one of the better players in this league defensively. Very athletic guy, and really been impressed with the physicality of his play now that he's got some weight back. But really can't comment on what they're doing defensively. I'm much more concerned about what they're doing offensively.
Sure. Can you take me back a year or so to when they made the coaching position change with you, and how disappointing was that? And do you imagine, did that prompt you looking elsewhere and winding up at Oregon?
My relationship with Coach Wilcox was very open. He was excellent communicating, on what his thoughts were, and I enjoyed working, there with him. Given that you don't always agree with decisions, and you as a coach, you're always open-minded, and I was very, very blessed and fortunate to get an opportunity here.
Hey, Coach, I hope you're doing well. What would you say is the main aspect for your defense to improve upon up to this point, and how did you work on that during this bye week?
What was the main aspect that we need to work on? Was that the question? Well, there's a lot of things. We've got to get much more consistent in our run fits. I thought we made some progress there last week. We've got to get off the field on third down, and until you get guys on the field and actually doing it, it's hard. Because you're not running live pressures against scout teams. So, the big thing is getting our guys healthy. We've got some guys that can rush the passer when healthy, and we've got to get those guys back. And I think this last week has helped us there.
Does this game have any impact to you, in more importance to you, considering the fact that you were here for so long and just so recently?
Well, I mean, there's personal feelings for the people there, the relationships I had with players, coaches, staff, still feel very well about them. but for 3.5 or 4 hours on Friday, it's a nameless, faceless opponent, and they're in our way at that point. So, that's how it is for me. Like I said, be fun to see the guys afterwards, but until then, it's just another game on the schedule.
Mario on Thursday said Swinson should be good to go for you guys. Just the significance of that, I guess, especially with KT having to sit that first half, and also the significance of getting Damon David back and just the flexibility of depth that he gives you.
Yeah. Braden, getting him back will be huge for us. As you mentioned, especially with KT having to sit the first half. He'd done some really good things, particularly in that Ohio State game when, KT wasn't ready to play those couple of weeks. And to lose both those guys, now you're down to, the next guy up. Obviously, your depth takes a hit. So getting him back, hopefully getting Mace back closer to full speed, where he had a week to heal up last week, getting Adrian Jackson and Jake Shipley back, as those guys have been dinged up. So all those guys, needed that rest, needed that time to get back. And we'll need them all because we're playing an excellent team that understands what we do defensively very well. And we know it's going to be quite a challenge.
Tim, I was asking Mario about the in-season already discussions about targeting and not just in light of the last game, but there's been a lot of discussion about it. It's been going on some time about should there be a targeting 1 and 2, and it's not intent's not part of the rule, and how do you actually enforce intent and litigate all that? As a defensive coordinator, when you're charged with teaching the points of what to do and how to avoid it and all that, how would you like to see the targeting rule changed going forward? Because clearly that's been a hot topic and will be for the next several months.
Yeah. First of all, you got to go back to the reason they added the targeting rule for the protection of players. And I think that's always got to stay forefront in our minds. As we teach our guys to tackle, we've been teaching for years now, you have to lower the target. You have to lower. The issue comes when the offensive ball carrier lowers his helmet at the same time you're lowering. And those are difficult. And I think they're difficult to officiate. To me, I think that the penalty is so draconian that to throw a guy out of a game for something that is a bang play on those type of situations, I think is probably excessive. I would like to have some type of a situation where you see it targeting, right away, hey, that guy should be out of the game. And those are, to me, obvious. It's the ones that they're not called on the field, and you have to look at the replay and slow it down, go back and forth and say, oh, yes, his helmet hit. I think that's a tough hurdle to be able to jump over to say he's out of a game for that. And hopefully they'll look at that. And again, I understand it's always about safety, and it's very difficult to officiate those. So until the rules change, I don't know, what our officials can do, and we'll just have to keep having our guys understand the significance of it, and obviously they do, and keep working on lowering their target and playing very, very safe.
Tim DeRuyter, the Oregon defensive coordinator, meeting with the media as we get ready for Cal. 7:30 Friday Night Lights at Autzen Stadium. When we come back, switching gears to a team that went 2-0 over the weekend. Graeme Abel's here, ladies and gentlemen. Oregon soccer head coach joins us next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear past, present, and future football watchers, football is back! So consider this your official excuse for always putting football watching first, courtesy of Pepsi. That haircut appointment? Seeing the in-laws for the first time in ages.
It's been so long!
Nope, sorry Susan, not if it's on Sunday. Long story short, after the year we've all had, we think you could use a little football watching. So crack open a Pepsi and cheer your football watching face off. With love, Pepsi. Made for football watching. That's what I like.
This is Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
These are the sounds of a dinner. A dinner that almost didn't happen. A dinner now served, thanks to people like you. Due to COVID-19, 17 million more Americans may face hunger. Feeding America is helping our neighbors in need. And if you're able, you can too. Donations are being accepted at feedingamerica.org/coronavirus. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
It's time for today's STEM tip. Okay, you know recycling is important. No one wants plastic in the ocean. Here's a cool way to repurpose a plastic bottle. Build an awesome terrarium. Cut a large plastic bottle in half and fill the base with sand, pebbles, potting soil, and your favorite plant. I chose an African violet. Put the top of the bottle over your base and place it in the sun. Your plant will grow sealed in its own ecosystem. Fun, right? Learn more at She Can STEM. A message from the Ad Council.
Welcome back inside the Country Financial Studio. It's Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Graeme Abel, Oregon Soccer head coach, is here. Hey, you went 2-0 this week. Got a win over Arizona. Got a win over Arizona State. Feeling pretty good in the Oregon Soccer offices right now, huh?
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Hey, win, lose, or draw, we're always good.
Well, that's what you like. But
it was on the positive side of
life.
But
it feels a little bit better when you're on the win column, right?
It does. It does. I mean, it's I said to our kids yesterday, I said, hey, listen, go enjoy this weekend in terms of, spend some time with your family tonight. And because we always turn the page right away. It's like, okay, hey, beat Arizona. Hey, focus on Arizona State next. Beat Arizona State. Let's focus on SC. So I said to them last night, hey, relax here and let's get back to it on Tuesday and we'll start figuring out a way we can get a result on Thursday night.
Duck Soccer sitting at 8-1-4 following the weekend. We're going to talk about that result coming up. So you guys are now 3-1-1 in conference. One of the things that stuck out to me, and we were talking about this heading into this past weekend, 6 of your last 8 would be in the state of Oregon. Well, you guys are 5-0-1 at home. It's a true home field advantage for you guys right now. Does it feel that way for your squad?
Yeah, I mean, for the very first time I took this job, and when I started looking back through, a couple of things stuck out to me was our home record. And then the other piece was obviously we were not a very good team on the road. We just weren't. And so historically, so one of the things was we have to make Pape the nastiest place in college soccer. That was one of the things I threw out there right away. Threw it out there in my interview, and we feel as though we're tough to play at home just because, our kids work so hard here. We're comfortable here. No doubt we're playing on turf.
Right.
We're the only one in the conference. People make it a negative, but it's a positive, for us. And, but the thing about turf is if you're able to train on it every day and be good on it every day, the switch back to grass is actually easier. So for us, we find it an advantage.
3-1-3 on the road, though. That's pretty good this year. So you guys have kind of hit on both of those goals, right?
Yes, yeah, and I think that's a maturity part with our kids. We were open and honest about that piece, and we've kind of adjusted some things in terms of, we do all our meeting times and things like that on the road is what we do at home. We kind of create a home away from home, when we're on the road. So, but our kids have done an awesome job with that.
Thursday at 4 o'clock, Oregon will play USC. It's a perfect opportunity to leave work a little early for that 4 o'clock meeting that you have at Pepe Field. I will send you a calendar invitation if anyone needs it.
Can we get one of those letters that they send that maybe signed by the Duck or something like that?
Right. I think we're into
so
that.
That's a good one.
I like that. Yeah, so 4 o'clock, it's on Pac-12 Network if you can't get out of work early. But does it help you that you only have I guess it obviously does for your fitness level because you only have one game this week. It's a little different.
Yeah, I mean, we go game to game anyway. It's never, hey, listen, on a Thursday, let's look at the Sunday game. Right. It's, hey, let's leave everything out on the field on a Thursday. We'll take care of the recovery piece. And we've always, spoke about all the facilities we have here to take advantage of it to recover our student athletes. But I think from a mindset, you're going into a one-game weekend and you can get after it, as much as you need to.
And especially at home.
Love being at Pepe.
Yeah, love being at Pepe. All right, we got to go back in time a little bit, though, because I want to ask you about Cass Elmore's great goal.
Yeah.
So walk fans through what you saw, what she saw, and that was a tremendous strike for a goal.
Well, I'd say at the very start, I thought the ball was going out until Kester let it go out. So, so bad coaching on my part right there. So, and good. Thankfully, Kess ignored the coach.
Is that like in baseball when you run through the stop sign at third base, but you score, so it's okay?
Maybe. I don't know anything about baseball. That's the problem. So
I got to come up with a better analogy then. But yeah,
I did play in a co-ed softball league once and did not know the rules and started arguing with the umpire. And that was
How'd it go?
It didn't go very well.
Sure.
So
Sure.
I've discovered I was out. So yeah, that was my first foray into American sports. No, listen, she one of the things when we first started taking a look at Kes when she popped up on the portal was like I called the coach at UConn, number one, find out what type of kid she is, unbelievable kid, and the coach said to me, listen, the more comfortable she gets, the word she described Kes as was electric. And the way she picked that ball up yesterday was what we expect out of Kes, and the confidence to go at a player, be playing on the outside, be playing on the inside, and then the confidence to cut in and take the shot. And a really good goal of a player who's really confident. And then, looking back at the video, Kes's overall performance was excellent.
I have to ask you too about the way that you guys have been performing. I was talking about it before you came on, Coach. That you've shut out 6 of your last 7 opponents. That's difficult to do in any level of soccer. That's difficult to do, I think, in any sport. What's been the key to that over the last few weeks?
The team, we did it last year as well. They work so hard. People who haven't seen us play yet need to come watch us play to see how hard these kids work in terms of pressing the ball, all over the field. The ability to drop down, defend our own 18-yard box. They don't panic. We talk about having a kind of this flatline attitude of no ups, no downs, and 1 through 24 in our roster, every single one of those kids puts their time in. It's on whether it's a Tuesday, whether it's a Wednesday, get into a game. The team that plays after training on a Friday, after the group that's in recovery, everybody's doing all the little things to make sure that when we get into those situations and we get into those parts of the game where it's all hands to the pump, that everybody knows their roles and responsibilities. So I know it's easy to single out, and I know we're a stat-based nation in terms of to single out individuals, but the unit and the team in terms of the work they put forth every single day is second to none.
A couple follow-ups for you there. So like with that in mind, Leah Freeman gets the school record 8th shutout.
Yep.
Because she's the one that's in the net for you. But it's not just Leah Freeman, right? It's an entire back line that I thought was really, really good yesterday.
Well, you look at the first 15 minutes of the game, you talk about the back line, you have to talk about the front, Chardonnay, Karan, Zoe Hasnau in terms of their pressing from the 8s, in terms of, because we flipped our shape a little bit yesterday, and then...
Don't give it away.
It's that's okay, people will watch it. And then you've got Eden Hardy on the outside, Jordan Warmdahl that comes on for Cass, Lexi, they're the players who are playing in the front. Maya, played in the 6 and she played it on her own and stuff yesterday, and so incredibly disciplined. And you look at the back line, they try to get us in wide areas, Mia Palmer's exceptional, then Anna and Croy down the centre there doing a phenomenal job, and then you've got Chai on the left side. So you've got all these different players doing their roles on the defending side of the ball. That stops teams from being able to come right through the gut of us, and again, it's a team effort.
And that is what we see, fans being we.
Yeah.
That's what we see on the field. What we don't see is what you guys are doing all week in practice and all the preparation that goes into this. So you're getting wins. It starts during the week, doesn't it? That's what you guys have built.
Without a doubt. I mean, I wish I could get more of our student athletes on the field. These games are so finely balanced. It'll get to a certain point in a game and you're like, okay, do you make this change? Do you not make this change? You're looking at the team and going, okay, we know games are won and lost on set pieces. We've spoken about that before. And you're saying, okay, if that's the case, do we have enough height on the team to defend these set pieces? So you want to be able to get X player in, but then you're looking at it going, okay, then our lineup gets slightly smaller. We need a taller lineup right now. And so what every single one of our student athletes does every single day when we're out in training, that we could put any one of them in the game, they would know their roles and responsibilities. That's what happened against Stanford. 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes into the game, Chai goes down, Megan Brooker comes in, not a problem. Backline's solid, and we're good from there. You look at the rotations through our front line. Jordan Warmdahl comes in yesterday. And Jordan, does such an incredible job for us because she can play the 11, can play the 9, can play the 7, played the 3 against Stanford temporarily when Meg had to go out till she come back in. 2 minutes to go in the game, Arizona State are trying to get a cross off. What they're trying to do is actually get a set piece as well to get a corner right at the end of the game. Jordan Warmdahl works all the way down, is able to get on the underneath of the ball, stop the ball from going for a corner, keep the ball inside, and then Croy's able to get a goal kick, and then we've effectively killed the game. That's somebody understanding their role and responsibility. Now, Jordan hasn't started at all this season, so it would be very easy for her to switch off. But that for me is a true team player, and that is what has been our strength this year.
That's culture, though, right? I mean, that takes time to build that level of trust amongst everybody to believe in the team, right?
I always come out from environment. People talk about culture, but I think your everyday environment of a commitment we made as a coaching staff when we came here, and it was something we spoke about on my interview with Lisa and Rob, was we have to invest in every single one of our kids. The playing time piece is always a difficult piece, you know what I mean, to put in there. But as long as we're invested in every single one of them, in helping them on their journey and helping them, fulfill their potential on and off the field, then you get that buy-in, and we have to create that environment every single day. And I think it's about the practice. It's about the practice environment, how you set that up, and the investment piece you have in everybody.
That's once they're on campus. So how do you as a coach go about finding the players that fit into that environment to help you build that?
I'm very honest. This isn't for everybody, this environment. It isn't. What we did in the spring, right before COVID, when we first got here, and we were doing all the individual work and things like that. And, I was influenced by the best environment in the world for 5 years, and that I took things from that to bring back to the collegiate game and to see if they could work. And it's intense, and, we for our kids to buy into it, and for anyone who's going to join us to buy into it, we're very, very honest with them. And do not come here if you're not prepared to buy in. We don't have superstars here. We're a team of, we work hard, we work for the team, all those different pieces. So if you're prepared to come in and buy into that, then you're going to have an unbelievable experience, an unbelievable university at a world-class athletic department. And if you don't want to buy into it, then there's 360 other schools that you can go to.
Yeah, and a bunch of other athletes that want to be here.
Yeah, I mean, this is Oregon. Why wouldn't you want to be here? Sure. Look, we go on about this every time. It's not a sales pitch, but look at what's going on around us. It's not just one program that competes. Everybody competes, and everybody seems to go about it a certain way. So,
Graeme Abel, Oregon soccer head coach, joining us Thursday, 4 o'clock, Eugene, Oregon, Pape Field, Pac-12 Network, KWVA 88.1 FM on the radio side. Keys to beating the Trojans.
Organization, I think they just beat Utah 7-0, so they can score goals, and they've got talented players, so it's going to be their setup versus our setup. So we'll make sure we're organized. We'll look at some things where we feel as though we can hurt them, and some things where we feel as though we can kind of stifle them, and all the different facets of the game, and let's get as many people out to Pape as we can.
4 o'clock Thursday. You need a calendar invite to show up on that work calendar? Send me an email. I got you covered. It's going to show up just like it does on my work calendar. There's a soccer game coming up 4 o'clock on Thursday.
You like the new Siri? You be Joey.
Nowadays you can pick the different types of voice that you want Siri to be. That creeps me out.
You'd be like, Joey, name that tune.
Yeah, exactly. And more often than not, I'd probably be able to do it. Yeah, that's true. So, okay, we're onto something here. I think that this patent pending.
Joey.
Pending. Yeah. That would creep out every member of my family, creep out my wife. Just like, no, we're not. That is some Skynet takeover stuff right there, Coach. I don't know how we feel about that. Graeme Abel, the Oregon soccer head coach. Hey, thanks for being here.
As always, thank you.
Hey, here's to another undefeated weekend.
Just keep rolling.
When we come back, we got a few other things to touch on. Women's basketball schedule, football schedule, a whole lot of more schedules on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As my family continued to grow, I realized I'd have to replace my beloved Jeep with something that has, more seats. I'm Jason Hines, Country Financial Rep and father of 7. Whether you're upgrading from your sporty ride with no room for a car seat or finally replacing your well-loved beater that still has a cassette player, you'll want the right protection for your new car. Work with a Country Financial Rep like me and get the protection you need at a price you can afford. Learn more at TakeSimpleSteps.com or contact a local Country representative.
From the weight room to the classroom, on the field and off it, On Point proudly supports University of Oregon athletics because student athletes do so much more than bring us pride on game day. They bring our entire community together in Eugene and all across Oregon. So whether you're watching the game in the stadium, at home, or at your favorite local business, their success makes all of us stronger. On Point Community Credit Union. Join in. OnPointCU.com. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
More Duck Insider coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Neil Armstrong waited 6 hours and 39 minutes to step onto the surface of the moon. Jackie Robinson waited 20 months to play his first game with the Brooklyn Dodgers. And even DiCaprio had to wait 22 years to win an Oscar. You can wait until your destination. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by On Point Community Credit Union. Joey Mack here with you in the Country Financial Studio. The schedule is pretty big this week. There's a lot of Oregon athletic events going on. And in fact, men's basketball media day, that's right, is Wednesday. Women's basketball media day is tomorrow. So for both Oregon men's and women's basketball, we'll have preseason polls over the next couple days. We'll have preseason all-conference for the next couple days, and a lot of different things going on for Oregon basketball over the next few days. So definitely stay in touch with us on that, because before you know it, it's going to be basketball season. 4 o'clock on Thursday, though, for Oregon soccer. And then Oregon volleyball is also in action on Thursday. It's kind of a rare one because the Duck football team is playing on Friday. So Oregon volleyball will be in action against Washington coming up at 7 o'clock in Eugene at Matthew Knight Arena on Thursday. So you've got 4 o'clock at Pape Field, 7 o'clock at Matthew Knight Arena. Just enough time to swing by Wild Duck and get yourself a burger before you go into Matthew Knight Arena. I might have just given you my full Thursday agenda right there, everybody, if you want to join me. But, yeah, that's what's going on for the Ducks. Also, the cross-country team is back in action in Madison, Wisconsin, and in Lake Oswego this weekend. More on that coming up. And then, of course, the 7:30 kickoff on Friday. Oregon against Cal. Wear black, by the way. It's a blackout with those lights. The idea is that if everybody's wearing black, and then the light show that we've been telling you about that you can get in on with if you're in the stadium with your Go Ducks Game Day app, you'll be able to actually see everything a lot better if everybody's wearing black. That's the whole point. It's going to lead to some really awesome videos for that 7:30 kickoff. That does it for today's show. Tomorrow on the program, we've got a busy one because H.J. Cohn will join us. Who knows what we're going to talk about with H? I don't know yet. I already sent him talking points. Half of them we won't get to. Thus is life. Mario Crisotbal, the Oregon football head coach, going to meet with the media tomorrow, because remember, everything's moving up a little bit. And then Matt Ulmer, Oregon volleyball head coach, the first place Ducks. We're going to talk with him on the show tomorrow as well. See you then.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s, like go back to college, learn to skateboard. Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. At aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a free 3-minute chat with the friendly digital retirement coach, Avo, and receive personalized tips to help boost your savings. Start chatting with Avo today at aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Papa, why can't we telegraph while riding a horse?
Son, there ain't no one to blame but Jeffrey.